Hello and welcome to Reaction Shot. I am Covenant Ironface and this is my partner Drecmo Caress. Today has been a very, very good day.
Avengers Day.
Yes. I have been hit by tires, covered in popcorn, covered in cheese, sweat, filth, grime. I have been stabbed, I have been sliced my hand open. Today is still a good day, because today is Avengers Day. We wanted to open up Reaction Shot's official episode number 1 with Avengers Age of Ultron. Since we usually go to a lot of movies, people tend to ask our opinion on them. So we decided that since we sit down and talk about it when we get home anyways, we're immediately just going to flip on the camera and go at it.
Because we do have a lot of these debates on our own and amongst our friends, and we found that a lot of people actually like our views. So, as we said last time, if you caught the episode 0, we're gonna, try and do this on a regular basis. As we said before, the 4 things that we're mainly looking at to try and give it a critical review is we want to take out the story and the plot, see how that stands up, our main cast, your sub-characters, and the cinematography. And then overall, see how the movie stands up. One important thing that we'd like to press, and it's going to be hard with a movie like this, we're trying to do the movies by themselves. If they're a sequel, we'll talk about that, but we want to step away from the original source material. We know this was a comic originally. All of them were. But judging the movie based on the comic, well, that's not really quite what we're here for. I mean, I know we're going to mention it, and of course there's probably going to be some spoilers. We'll try and avoid it. But we want to see the movie by itself.
Like you said, spoiler alert, we're going to try and avoid it, but here's a warning up on the side, just in case. We also have a warning over here for bad language, because I can't help it. I love it.
Language.
They won't get that yet.
You'll see.
Anyways, like we said, we talk about it, all of the movies anyways. We're going to start on a schedule of about every other week. But we're going to try and do this constantly so that we can get more people to enjoy what we enjoy. Let's go ahead and start off with the plot of Avengers Age of Ultron, sir.
For those of you that have seen previous ones, you know that it's building up, and maybe if you've watched some other shows, but the movie by itself, without giving away too much, our wonderful genius person of Tony Stark, hooray, Iron Man, decides to build a defensive robot. Without giving away too much, things go wrong.
Yeah,
very wrong.
Because
he's playing with something that he doesn't understand. And as it goes through to turn around and bite them in the butt, multiple times, some good does come out of it. And it does stand up by itself as a really good story. It's hard to explain without giving it away, and we still want you to go see the movie yourself. There were a couple of scenes that I thought were silly, but overall the plot stood. It was a good story, and it carried through with a good pacing. But there's a couple of characters I didn't agree with. I'll get to that later. If you want to talk about our main cast, though.
What do I need to say about the main cast? I mean, if you've been watching these movies, you already love these guys. Chris Evans as Captain America, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Oh my God, they have just taken these characters and given them a second skin. And they really shine through in this movie as much as any other. What I do like is that in the first Avengers, I thought that Widow and Hawkeye were kind of, pushed to the side. They get a lot more detail in this one, and I really like that. Thor and Hulk, unfortunately, are kind of pushed to the wayside, but, I mean, with so many huge actors and characters, it's kind of hard to avoid that. But I think it was well played. As far as the robot, I was prepared to give a complete, all-out bitch fest. I hate this archetype Oh, look, we built a robot. Oh, look, it immediately wants to kill us. Oh, look, we have to fight it. I hate that. Hello, Skynet. Hello, Vicky. Hello, HAL 9000.
How many times?
It's over and over. They did it well. They impressed me, and I absolutely hate this archetype. They really took it in a way that I didn't think they were going to, and I'm really, really glad they did. James Spader, what can I say? I kept hearing his voice coming out of that box. I keep imagining Raymond Reddington from The Blacklist just sitting at a mic going, "Okay, assholes, now we're going to play my game.
I'm going to tell you what we're going to do."
And, I mean, it was kind of distracting, but at the same time, it was really badass. The look of Ultron was still pretty good. I mean, yeah, they've spoiled it in the trailers already, but it still held up pretty well. Did I miss any of the main characters?
No, I think you really
Everybody
covered
else
them
is kind
pretty
of
well.
side?
Everyone else kind of falls to the side, which there are a couple characters that fall in between. They become important, but they're still sub-characters, and for those of you that, have watched the other movies, you see what they call the twins. They never say exactly who they are, but we all know that it's Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch. And they...
Loopholes!
Yeah. They do become semi-important, but only in about the third act. They don't feel very fleshed out. They're kind of just thrown there, and doing our best to avoid spoilers or anything else, but also avoiding all other places that they could come from. Everyone is angry about what little story they have here, rather than where everyone knows they came from. Hooray, comics! But even without looking at that, the characters by themselves seem unimportant. They do some stuff, flashy stuff, but both of them are kind of, we're just here, we're kind of flip-flop about what we want to do, who we want to help, and we leave little impact. And on top of that, I mean, I hate to say it, but you end up with Nick Fury, who is still a sub-character in this case, ever since the last movies. Hey, Winter Soldier. And he does show up, and it's the same thing, he does some stuff. This character's already established, but he's not important. He's just kind of, look at me, I'm doing things because I'm Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, pretty much. I will say, I do want to take it over a little bit. I do think that the characters that they got for Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch brought out more than what they really had to work with.
They did
seem like a brother and sister, and I believe that they wanted to protect each other.
They did do their roles well, but there wasn't much of it to do. Yeah. They're believable sub-unimportant characters. I would have loved to see more story, and they do tell a little bit of their story and where it comes from, but it doesn't feel like important. It feels rushed. It's like, oh, we hate people because of this reason. I saw a name and I'm angry at that name. Come on, people. That was not well done. Other sub-characters, not even
worth a mention.
Not even worth a mention in most cases. Without spoiling anything, there are some sub-characters that are important to Hawkeye, and I actually feel did build on his character a little bit. But they didn't, beyond that, they didn't do anything in the movie. No major parts, nothing. Not even a few good lines.
Oh, look, you have a connection to this person.
Hooray!
Hey, friend request, click.
But otherwise, everyone else is just pretty much extras, not here, kind of in the background, running and screaming while things are exploding. But, speaking of exploding...
Actually, I noticed a lot of scenes where even when stuff was exploding, people weren't really running.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, look, here's a fight here. well, we're all going about our daily business. Oh, look, they're right here. Okay, now we'll start running.
You know, they must be from Oklahoma.
Yes, they should. The cinematography of this movie was pretty well shot. It was awesome. The circling, tracking shots, oh my god, with the entire team, that is epic. That is the definition of fucking epic movie scenes. I didn't notice a lot of shaking camera. I didn't notice a lot of people out of place, except for, people not running when, shit's exploding.
Oh, it blew up 3 feet from me. I'm okay unless it's within 2 feet.
Yeah. But, that's really beside the point. It's not the focus of the movie. The focus of the movie is each Avenger and when they're working together, and it comes together well. You gotta know that they spent a lot of money on this, and it was well worth the price. I've been complaining about Furious 7 making so much money. This is the movie that needs to make a lot of money.
From the turnouts, by the way, I would think they would be. I showed up at the theaters 2.5 hours early, and there was already 200 people ahead of me. So if you do go see it, go early. And speaking of wanting to go see it, what's your overall thoughts?
Absolutely. Whether you're a fan of just regular movies or especially of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this is the movie to go see. It does kind of feel like a wind-up, whereas the Avengers, okay, this is the climax of whatever's going on. This, very climatic, very epic, but it still feels like a wind-up to what's coming next.
And speaking of what's coming next, that's part of it too. Before I go to that, though, I agree. This was a good movie in its own right. Even if you haven't seen the other ones, go check this out. Be well worth your money. Bring a couple of friends. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. As for a sequel, it felt pretty well along those lines as well. It just flowed in, followed the continuity that they've been setting up with all these movies. I hope you've been watching. But what he said is right. They had a good ending for the movie, but it also suddenly felt like we're automatically building up to another one. And that, although we want it, that by itself is a little disappointing. I believe movies should be self-enclosed. It's cool to see a spoiler at the end. Hey, yeah, this is awesome, but it felt like the story couldn't even end. Like, oh, let's throw in a little bit more and begin the next story before we'd even got it done.
Yeah, it's like, we know you're making more movies. We know they're coming out. But at least give us a complete movie without just giving us half of a movie based on what's coming after.
I would say 90% of a movie, 10% of the next movie.
Yeah. And I did like that they constantly kept referring back to what happened in the first movie. That really helps with the continuity, and it really helps with, trying to get a entire universe of 6, 7, a dozen heroes and all their own story arcs, and they're all having their own movie sets. It's pretty arrogant. Coming from the guy of arrogance, it felt pretty arrogant. Of course, I'm going to continue seeing it, though.
We're going to go watch the next one.
I got to. But whereas I saw the Avengers 3 or 4 times in the theaters, I don't think I'm going to go back and see this one again.
So, that's kind of our reviews on it. Like I said, we're going to keep doing this, and our next schedule is going to be Mad Max, isn't it?
Mad Max, May 15th, and we'll see you then.
We hope to see you next time, guys. Have fun. Go see the movies.